The moment I pressed send, my heart sank. My phone screen still glowed with the message I had meant to send to someone else. Instead, it had landed in the hands of my next-door neighbor. Before I could even figure out how to explain myself, there was a gentle knock on my front door. I looked through the peephole and froze. Standing on my porch was my neighbor Hannah, wearing the warmest smile I had ever seen, holding her phone in one hand as if she already knew exactly why I looked so terrified. Before we continue, if you believe that kindness, hope, forgiveness, compassion, and second chances can truly change someone's life, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these heartfelt stories reach people who may need them the most. I lived in a quiet neighborhood outside Nashville, Tennessee. My name is Jacob, and at 34 years old, I had become an expert at avoiding people. A painful divorce 2 years earlier had left me emotionally exhausted. I still smiled at coworkers and greeted neighbors politely, but inside I carried the weight of disappointment and loneliness. Hannah had moved into the house next door about 6 months earlier with her 8-year-old nephew Caleb after becoming his legal guardian when her sister passed away from an illness. Everyone in the neighborhood admired her strength. She balanced a full-time nursing job while raising Caleb with incredible patience and love. We often exchanged friendly waves while collecting the mail or mowing our lawns, but neither of us had ever crossed the invisible line between neighbors and friends. That Saturday afternoon, a coworker had been teasing me about finally asking someone out. While texting him, I jokingly wrote that if my beautiful neighbor ever smiled at me one more time, I might accidentally fall for her. Somehow distracted by another notification, I sent the message directly to Hannah instead. My stomach dropped the second I realized my mistake. I stared at the screen in horror, wondering whether I should apologize immediately or simply move to another state. Then came the knock. When I opened the door, Hannah wasn't laughing or angry. Instead, she held up her phone with the message displayed and smiled so warmly that my panic slowly began to fade. She admitted she had been surprised but not offended. In fact, she confessed something that completely caught me off guard. She had noticed me for months too. She admired how I shoveled snow from elderly neighbors' driveways without ever mentioning it, how I helped children fix their bicycles, and how I quietly left groceries on the porch of an older widower after learning he had lost his job. She said my accidental text simply answered a question she had been too afraid to ask herself. Over the following weeks, what began as an embarrassing mistake slowly turned into genuine friendship. Instead of rushing into romance, we spent evenings talking on our front porches while Caleb chased fireflies across the yard. I learned that Hannah often hid her own fears behind her cheerful smile. Raising Caleb alone was overwhelming, and she constantly worried she wasn't doing enough. She admitted there were nights when she cried after he went to bed, praying she could give him the stable home he deserved. Her honesty encouraged me to confront my own wounds. For the first time since my divorce, I stopped believing that every ending meant another failure. Hannah never tried to fix my past. She simply listened without judgment. Little by little, the walls I had built around my heart began to crumble. One autumn evening, Caleb's elementary school hosted a family appreciation event. Most children arrived with parents or grandparents. Caleb proudly introduced both Hannah and me as the people who always showed up for him. Hearing those simple words filled me with an emotion I hadn't experienced in years. It wasn't excitement, it wasn't romance, it was belonging. Life, however, wasn't suddenly perfect. Hannah received an offer to transfer to a hospital nearly 3 hours away. The position offered better pay, making it easier to provide for Caleb's future. I knew accepting it would probably end whatever future we were beginning to imagine together. Instead of asking her to stay, I encouraged her to choose what was best for her family, even though every part of me hoped she wouldn't leave. A week later, Hannah knocked on my door again. This time her smile carried tears. She told me she had declined the transfer. During the interview process, she realized something important. Home wasn't simply a house or a paycheck. Home was the people who helped carry life's burdens together. She believed Caleb had finally found that sense of family again, and so had she. Months later, our quiet neighborhood celebrated Christmas with lights stretching across every porch. Caleb insisted we all decorate one enormous tree together in Hannah's living room. As I watched him laugh while hanging handmade ornaments, I realized that one accidental message had completely changed the direction of my life. What I had mistaken for the worst texting mistake of my life had become the beginning of healing, trust, and a future I never expected to find. Before we reach the end, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever experienced a simple mistake that unexpectedly changed your life for the better? Share your story in the comments because someone reading it today may find hope through your experience. If this story touched your heart, reminded you that second chances often arrive in unexpected ways, or encouraged you to keep believing in hope, please support the video by liking it, sharing it with someone you love, subscribing to the channel, and leaving a heartfelt comment below. Sometimes the smallest moments, a smile, a kind word, or even a misplaced text, can open the door to the life we've been praying for all along.